Dominic Kane, Al Jazeera.
Well, that is one aspect of the terrible difficulties facing millions of people inside Syria. Another is access to basic health, to decent food, and that's a problem facing the United Nations Children's Fund. So we'll talk now to Juliette Touma, who talks on behalf of UNICEF out of Amman in Jordan. You have a warehouse near Homs, and it is crammed to the gunnels with all the things that these people need, and you can't get it to them. Why is that?
Indeed, we have a warehouse which is only 6 miles, David, away from the old city of Homs, where the siege has been taking place. The siege in Homs is the longest that we have seen in the past 2 decades. In fact, since Sarajevo, we haven't seen a siege as long, as fierce as the one on the old city in Homs. We have restrictions. We are waiting for the green light to go and access the old city of Homs, and we still did not get that green light.
When you say a siege, it conjures up sort of almost medieval images of people being starved to death, having no water. How basic are the conditions for those people inside Homs that you are trying to help?
What we know is that there are more than 1,100 children currently under siege. We haven't, in the United Nations and in UNICEF, been able to access that area since October 2012. So more than a year we were not able to access the area. We know that there are very, very dire needs, and these children need immediately to be vaccinated, especially against polio, because polio has returned. But we also want to give them the basic supplies like hygiene kits, like medical supplies, and they are in desperate need for that. So more than a year of us not being able to access that part.
Sorry to interrupt you, Juliette. You talk about the children there needing polio vaccinations. It fascinated me to see that you have successfully been able to immunize, I think it's round about 1 million children already.
That's right. In the past year, David, and in fact, since the outbreak of polio in October last year, UNICEF has responded rapidly. We actually vaccinated about 2 million children inside Syria against polio, 1 million against measles and other lethal diseases, but it's not enough. We haven't been able to access children who are under siege. The United Nations sister agency OCHA talks about at least 250,000 people currently trapped in besieged areas. But we also have to reach the children in areas where violence is taking place. So indeed, we have reached, but it's not enough. It's not enough by all means.
Juliette, when you talk to those people responsible for laying siege to Homs, and you say we need to get these things in, we're talking about clothing, shampoo, medical items, non-perishable foods. When you talk to those people who are laying siege to Homs and say we've got to get those things in, what did they say to you?
It's constant negotiations. We have been negotiating for the past 3 years, and sometimes we have been successful. Both parties of the conflict have been responsive. We have managed to undertake what we call cross-line operations, which means that our teams on the ground have crossed 2 lines and areas that are under the opposition control, but it's not been enough, and it's basically constant and daily negotiations to let us deliver supplies. We are talking about 4 million children who need emergency assistance. This is about 60% of Syria's child population, and these are the children who are internally displaced in the country because they had to flee their homes, or they are currently caught in areas under siege and in areas where conflict is taking place, where severe conflict is taking place in areas like Aleppo, like Homs, like some parts of Damascus.
Well, we wish you luck. Juliette Touma, they're talking on behalf of UNICEF, the UN Children's Charity. A court in Bangladesh has sentenced to death the chief of the opposition